Hello again, Tier 3. In just a moment, we will start your third VOD, and this one is going to be kind of a mix of both the positive and the negative, um, I don't know, criticisms, I suppose. Awesome. And this one, just like the icon mode one that we did, I'll be looking a little bit more at everyone's kind of individual uh, I can't think of words right now. What everyone's bringing basically to the table every fight, you know. So this fight, Jandras, as I told you before, I wanted you to watch it. I think it's very interesting. hmm Alright, so initially, mostly pretty strong. Positioning-wise, I don't have a problem with it. Wish System was already a little bit closer, but that's fine. He'll be there soon. Mantis, I already like that you are kind of, taking like this off angle right and pressuring their backline a little bit. So for the most part, I like what we're doing. But there's a couple of things that I don't like. The first thing I'll say is Goat, I noticed that you're not participating in this fight. I'm assuming it's because you wanted to put your turret over here. Now, what I will tell you is throughout the fight, I want you to kind of pay attention to like what's happening. If like the different shots you can see as I pause it. And you'll notice that your turret doesn't shoot anything, and it's because it's too far away. So you flanked, right, in Brawl, which is a no-no. Off angles, fine. And sometimes, yeah, you can flank a little bit, but at the beginning, the first fight is so crucial, right? And both teams are obviously going to come out with Brawl, and if you're already down one person in that Brawl, it becomes substantially weaker. Not only that, but like the turret isn't even really helping during the fight like it should, because like if you start with the team, right? Let's say like Mantis takes that left side and you're playing with the team, like you're slamming into this junk right now. You're slamming into the diva. You're making them back up. Not only that, but you can put like a turret over here and it might get destroyed, a little quickly this fight, but it'll require them to like look away, right? Look away from your front line and address it, or they're getting shot by basically like a seventh person. Okay. So what happens is we get the pick on Junk, which is huge. That's a great pick for us. That's a lot of damage that they've suddenly lost, which means like Alejandro's thinking that he can get a little aggressive. However, Alejandro, you charge at half health. That is my issue with you. Don't charge at half health. I don't think this is like a bad pin necessarily, right? Because you can get like a quick pick maybe with it, and you're not charging too far from your team. Like, well, to be fair, you get booped, but you do kind of land in the middle of both teams, so it's still like you're going, you're probably going to get help, right? The issue is that you charged at half health. The second issue, when I was watching this fight, I was like, well, what happened? Why wasn't he getting healed? And I noticed System had gotten hurt. Um, but the next person that I'll look at is Rag, okay? So, Rag, my main issue with you this whole game is your bubble usage. I think that you need to be a bit more patient with it. I can tell that you're really trying to get energy and just have it all the time, but it often means that you're like when you engage in the fight, you don't have bubbles. And so your team just gets shredded. Like, you don't get a whole lot of energy for bubbling Jandras there, right? And it's because he'd barely really touched hammers with Rhine. It wasn't a full commitment, and so you're not really getting any value. Like if he's not swinging and doing damage, right, or you're not like helping him out of a sticky situation, you're not getting value with it, even if you are getting energy. Second thing I'll mention is it's so important, like your cooldowns are so important as both an off tank and certain squishies that have like CC capabilities. Like your cooldowns are so important because it helps your team and your Rhine win the brawl. And it's really important, as I've said, and will continue to say, that you guys win the brawl, especially the first fight. So you need to hold it. You need to hold bubble. Even if you don't have as much energy, like you can, maybe use your bubble right coming out and, taking that initial spam damage. Use your bubble, then back up behind your Rhine, and then bubble your Rhine, when he starts swinging or something. But also take care of their comp. McCree is so popular right now, as is May, and I honestly wouldn't use it until I knew exactly what they had and what I need to counter, because if they have McCree, okay, I need to bubble him when he gets flashed, or he's not going to be able to protect himself. If they have May, okay, I need to bubble him when he gets frozen, right? Or if they have Ana, same thing with Anti. So, using it to help your Rhine more. Because what happens is we don't get a ton, but we get an okay amount of energy, and you do get energy for this. And you take this lovely off angle. I really like the off angle rag, because you're so close to your Rhine, right? Like, the way that it should be played is like this. You're close to your Rhine, you're also close to your team, so you can get help if you need to, right? And you can back up if you need to. And you can do damage from their side. You should be doing alt fires here. It's nice to laser, the Ilmor. I don't have a problem with that. But I do wish you were doing more damage, because you had a couple of really good windows there for like some spicy alt fires with, at least 50 to 70 energy, and you just didn't get any value out of that. My second issue is Jandra's pins the diva. It's like you have a decision right now. Do I damage the diva, or do I bubble Jandros? and the exciting thing is that you can do both, right? But what I would do is when he charges in and the enemy team looks at him, I would bubble my main tank, especially because he's about to fucking die, and then I would finish off the diva. That diva's so fucking pathetically weak, it's not going to be that big of a deal. But if you lose your Rhine right now, it's over. Still no alt fires. So, that's unfortunate. Second thing I will say, Mantis, I kind of have the same spiel for you. I like that you're taking this off angle, right? And I like that you're close to your team, especially because Jontris is playing a little bit closer to the left side. It's very easy for you to, play with him still. My issue is that you push up and you just kind of like throw flashbang just to throw it, and you're only really catching Diva. It kind of sets her up for the pin, but I don't think this is a great use of your flashbang originally, and it's the same reason as I said with Bubble, and that when you're going against Brawl v Brawl, especially if they have a McCree, you need to make sure that you're helping your Rhine with the fight. Unless they have a flanker, right, that you need to save flash for, or you have, like, a squishy wandered into your path randomly and is the freest kill ever for, like, a flashbang fan, then I would save flashbang for when my Rhine needs it, right? I would use it to either fuck the Rhine whenever they're, like, mid-fight to kind of swing things in your Rhine's favor, or I would use it to, bail my Rhine out when he's getting low, right? Or, they're really pushing on him. So you need to really be conscientious of that. You're not just, like, protecting your backline, right? Sometimes you are helping your Rhine big dick the other Rhine. And the more you help your Rhine big dick the other Rhine, the more high noons you get off, right? The more damage you do to the other team. I mean, there's no reason not to. So you really just misuse the cooldown here, and your Rhine gets pressured for it. Like there, if you had flashbang, you could roll and flashbang the Rhine, right, and stop the charge, and maybe help your Rhine. Go. We've already talked about you. System. The thing that I actually noticed on this map with you and you playing Moira was your healing meter was pretty good. It was better than the last time on Iconwald, I will say that. So I could tell that you were thinking about it, which is awesome. My issue with you at the moment though is your fade. You kind of fade like as I don't know, like as a fucking trigger response, like out of fear. And you just sort of almost always fade in place, or kind of off to the side, which I like to call inking. So it's really for no value at all. In fact, you also, because you got hit, right, and you were spooked, and then you faded toward the enemy. So I have a big problem with all of that. That's just a misuse again of the ability. Save your fade, put yourself in situations where you can play around natural cover, you can play with your team, avoid damage, and if they do push you right, you can just fade away, and it's okay. Instead, you fade forward. Fortunately, we're kind of aggressing, so it's all right. But then, right, like your Rhine kind of goes in, and you can't quite get to him. And I mean, it's fine that you didn't have fade there. I honestly don't think you could have done much there. Maybe throwing the healing orb a little bit faster, but I think that the other cooldowns were definitely more important with your teammates than yours. But I just wanted to note the fade issue because I see it a lot during this match, and I want to start drilling that in. Bless you. Clean, the only thing that I necessarily have a problem with here is that I feel like you could start being more active in the fights, right? I've seen you play a lot. I think your beats are great. I think that, I see you spam a lot with Lucio, which is nice. You try to clean up kills and help your team with that. And all around, you have a really solid basic understanding of Lucio. But there's a couple things I would change, and part of that, once you're like solid with a character, then you can start looking how to make plays more, especially as a support. So here, you notice like you're helping, right? You healed, you sped a little, you're popping some shots. You're not just sitting around, but I feel like you could be doing more. Now, do you need to be going, right at Lucio in the back line against the McCree? No. If they have a McCree or CC in general, or hit scan or something, obviously I'm not saying go into the back line. But you could be, going in with your Rhine a little bit harder, coming at it from the side, maybe like bumping their Rhine back into us, right? I really want to see you work on your boops more. And really trying to get value out of just like displacing the enemy, annoying the shit out of them and putting them in positions where they don't want to be. If they want to get up on your Rhine, right, or your team, boop them away, right? Like speed your team and boop them and just kind of create the distance. If they're trying to get away, speed into them and then like, boop them towards your team, and really just try to annoy them. It's like you could have potentially booped the Rhine away from your Rhine and saved him from the pin. Or just booped him into positions, before that where he couldn't get like such an easy angle on your Rhine. But we just kind of like watched it happen. So that's the beginning of the first fight, really. Not great. We take a first pick and kind of squander it. Okay. So, we back out, we're regrouping. That's fine. Turret kills the baby diva. Awesome. One thing I want to say as well is I see this happen a couple of times this match, and I think it's for two reasons. I notice our DPS will get hit a lot of the time, and then I don't know if it's an ego thing or, I don't know, lack of respect for the enemy or what the case may be, but a lot of times y'all will just continue to take the duel even if you're really low health, right? And you'll just say like, oh, they won't hit me, right? Like right now, Goat, you're so dangerously low and you're still kind of shooting. And it's like, I get it, like, you want to still be active in the fight, right? You want to help, you don't want to be dead weight, but if you die right now, like, it's over, and, like, now your team's down a person. On the other hand, I know that we're running Moira Lucio, which are going to be with the tanks a lot of the time, but both of you need to be looking around, every couple seconds or so and making sure that every member of your team is okay, right? Using the sound cues will help you so you don't have to turn so much because you can hear, like, if your other healer makes a sudden gasp or whatever. But you know, y'all need to be looking around more and being more conscientious of that, because I notice it happens a lot, and neither healer will kind of notice because we're so engrossed in what the tanks are doing. Our tanks get a lot of resources, which is awesome, but it's important to enable our DPS too, and also to keep our other healer up, right? The third option, of course, is to just say something. You know, if you get low, say, hey, I need healing. And then, you know, kind of walk over to your support a little bit and let them heal you. And, you know, whatever. Communication is everything, guys. Okay, I thought we used ults well there. Yeah, as far as ults go, you guys are definitely getting better at just really definitively using your ults, you know. You feel powerful and you just go for it, which is great. Alright, John just dies first again. So, it happens, you get shattered. That's just kind of like a Rhine thing. First, first, you know, it happens sometimes. Every Rhine gets shattered. So, the first thing I'll comment on is, Goat, you are not a goddamn sniper. You play in Double Shield and you play in Brawl, right? And you hold, like, middle of the pack, right? You don't have to be up everyone's ass, but you definitely are not way in the back sniping shots. You're never going to be accurate with that. It's going to take a little bit of time for your shots to travel, right? So you're going to be even less accurate. Also, if they start aggressing on your team, like you can be like a formidable, you know, presence with your overload, and your ult and you know whatever else, and help lock down that choke. So you need to be up there. Also, yet again, think about the map. Think about where the enemy is going to come in. They might come in on this right side, but a lot of the times they're going to come up top, especially if your team's holding up top. So the fight's probably going to happen up here, which means you need to be thinking about where your turret can be so it can actively participate in the fight. Alright? You don't need to be with your turret, and not only that, but your turret literally is still not doing anything. It's straight up sitting there not doing shit. So you need to be thinking about this. Like, especially you can put it in positions where instead of on top of you, where it can be like behind the enemy or to the side, right, to create that off angle. And again, they're forced to kind of turn to deal with it, you know, and that's always great. So I mean, even if you put it like, I mean, if you put it on this like this left side and it forces them to kind of like look over here, right, like that's great. Or, you know, putting it in, you know, the back, like somewhere over here would also be fine. You know, somewhere around here, even. Or even closer, you know, so it can shoot up or something. But closer, you know, both of you need to be closer. The second thing I will say is, yet again, like, Jontress, I'm sorry to say it, honey, but you're not perfect. Sometimes you're not going to be able to block the shatters right, and that's okay, and it sucks at the time. But as a team, we need to be making sure that we're using our resources to, again, help our Rhine out, okay? Like, he takes so much damage, and sometimes, you know, right, like, we don't always do things perfectly, but there's times where he's absolutely, like, playing with the team and in positions where, like, he can be helped, and we just don't help him. Again, Rag, I think that you need to be a little bit more patient with your friendly bubble in particular. Like I said before, just because you get energy, it doesn't mean that you're getting value, because if you can't do anything with it, like, what's the point? You can use your personal to get energy, right? That's fine. You just need to be aware that now you don't have bubble, so you can't push. So you kind of back up around your Rhine, right? But then you bubble Jontress, and he's not even engaging yet. Like, he's still kind of, like, walking up, and you don't really know where the enemy is. You don't know if they're walking up yet, so you don't know for sure that you're going to get energy here. Not just that, but Jontress, you know, isn't committing, right? Like, he's just kind of, like, walking in and seeing what, you know, what's happening and whether or not he can do anything with this. So, unfortunately, he gets shattered for it, and we don't have bubble because we bubbled him preemptively. You don't have bubble to block, shatter for yourself. And then we just kind of die. Okay, Mantis, my issue with you starts actually before this fight begins. Okay. Do it from the overhead. So we have Ryan, Zarya, McCree, Lucio there, and Torb and... Where's Moira? Yeah, Moira coming back. Okay. We're clearly going to hold up top. I see Ryan going up top. I see Lucio going up top.
Bitch.
I lost Rag. I don't know where Rag went. Hunter, I don't know where he went. There he is. Okay, Rag is going up top. Even System's making it, forward. Mantis goes backwards. Why? Look at this shit. It would have been so much faster if you just walked up the stairs with your team and then fucking boom. And you can go with Lucio speed. And if you want to hold here for whatever reason, then you just back up slightly. Not only that, but if you went this way, like you could, again, potentially like look over here for this off angle. But because you take so long to just make this rotation for no reason, you're not there. And your flash comes too late. You were late by a second, and that second mattered. Alright. Let's see. I want to talk about Queen first. This is fine, healing while you guys are standing still. Doing some spamming. One thing, and this is kind of hard to do because I know that you're trying to spam and stuff, but this is just important for my healers in general, is you can be with your team and near your team without being on top of your team. Here it's a little awkward, but you get hit by shatter and like there's some natural cover to your left, right, that you could have been playing around and still, like, again, if you're playing here, right, you could take the corner, so you're only half getting shot, and you can back up if you are. You can still spam, and your aura still hits these people right here. So it's not really necessary for you to be out in the middle of the hallway. Like anytime I'm in the middle, like I try to think about this anytime that I'm, especially when I'm squishy. Anytime I'm walking up like main or in a path, and I'm like just kind of walking through the middle of everything. I try to chastise myself because if something happens, for whatever reason, something surprises you and you get shot, you have like an equal amount of distance to go from either side, and it's just kind of hard to get into natural cover. Whereas if you're corner peeking more and someone shoots you, it just takes like barely half a second, right? You can also, on some points, like do some wall writing, and get fancy with it, because then you obviously won't get hit by shatter here, and you're still healing and, speeding your team that's below you, and if the Rhine walks through, you can kind of come here and boop him forward. That would be being really active in the fight, right? So a couple of different things for you to do there, but, again, because we're in the middle, we get hit with the shatter, which means we can't save our Rhine with beat, right? And that's what you needed to do there. Second thing is, you have amp here, and your Zarya is half health. I would amp speed backwards, right? And, and then heal Rag, behind cover. You also have beat. It might, we killed Ryan and we killed McCree. Might be winnable, and it might be worth it to beat, especially since you have Grav and some other things. So I wish you would have sped with amp, and even healed with amp a little bit, even beated possibly. That's it. You see how you're still kind of in the middle of point? Not a lot of great wall riding spots, unfortunately, on this point. It's hard to stall with Lucio. You maybe could have disengaged a little there and made it back to your team, right? And just kind of like occasionally touched point rather than sitting on it. Okay, and then last person this fight, I'll talk about system. System again, it's a fading issue. This is fine for you. But you get shattered. And you're scared. And then you fade off. And now you can't help your team. And it's tragic. And you didn't do anything this fight. Right? Like, your 3 of your people died. And neither support could help. Which is just really sad. So, having a better grasp of the map. Again, playing around natural cover like I told Clean so you don't get shattered is huge. What I will say is here you do a really good job trying to bring it back. You know, you call Jandros a lot and keep him up. You know, and then you get a lot of damage in, for sure. I wish, though, that with all this damage that you're doing, that you would have healed a little bit, right? Like, Jandros did pin in again, which we will talk about in a second. But, you know, this is healable, this is healable, you're keeping him up, doing a little bit of damage, this is fine. I would start healing again to kind of lay it back on since my tanks are getting, you know, hit with some things, so I would, like, throw a little burst in there again, go back to DPSing, oh shit, my, you know, my Zarya is low, I need to get in there. I might fade over to the left, possibly. This is like a quick reposition, but it's because Rag is in such a fucking ridiculous position at the moment. Rag, by the way, need to be a little bit further back, I think. You know, fade over here maybe so you can heal both tanks possibly, but really they should be playing together to make things easier for you. Regardless, you should not be damaging here because you don't need to. They have they have Immort. There's nothing you can do at the moment. And Chandra's just pinned in, which means he's super vulnerable. I would just throw a lot of healing at him. Yeah, unfortunately the tire came out. If the tire didn't hit him, he might have been fine. But here though, like, you should have already been healing Rag. Rag should be about half health right now, which might help him. However, his positioning's not great, so, you know, that's unfortunate. This is fine. There's too much damage on the Torb, but again, like, that was better, right? Doing some damage, doing some healing, you know, kind of going back and forth. Okay, so talking about the stall. Oh no, I went too far. Okay. Doing some Rhine things. Swinging. It's fat. I will say that. It's disgusting. However, they're already all there. Your Lucio's with you, you know. You have a couple people with you. They used Immort especially, so you're not going to get much value out of pinning here. And they're in front of you. Like, if you can, for whatever reason, like, for instance, if they didn't have Immort, and you can just pin the Rhine and get him out of the way, that's okay. But they have Immort, and it doesn't look like you processed that. That they used it, and so, like, the pin's not going to do much, and when really, like, you could have been just, like, swinging and hitting all of them, right? And then, yeah, of course, they tire, which is, again, unfortunate. So, I think maybe a little bit more passive. Rag. But again, just like last time, Alejandro, I thought, but Why can't we bubble our Rhine and save him? So we bubbled Torb, Bragg, for no reason. You bubbled out of a panic because you saw Torb. Okay? So that's not great. Second, you bubble when no one's looking at you. Also not great. And then after you use bubble, you walk into the enemy where you have no protection at all and take all of the damage in the world. Also not great. And now you're not on the right side of your Rhine, and so you can't bubble him. And when you come around, you just panic and bubble someone. So, doing things with purpose, right? You know, the tire bubble, at least, I can sort of understand because you hear the tire and you just think, maybe you thought, you know, I want to save my support. Okay. Which is fine. In this instance, and this is a judgment call, but like, if I'm looking at my team right now and I see, you know, the beat on everyone, but I also see that my Reinhardt is surrounded by people, I would probably bubble my Rhine. So, wasted bubbles. Also, it's in terms, as far as like your primary goes, you push when you have bubble. You don't push using bubble, okay? And you definitely don't push when you don't have bubble. So, the idea is, you walk into the enemy, you know, you get your energy, you go behind your Rhine. The next time you have bubble and you have energy, you just walk into them and you're doing damage and shit. And when they start damaging you back and you're losing most of your shield and you start thinking, okay, you know, I kind of need some help or, you know, some heals, that's when you bubble, because A, they're definitely going to still shoot you, so you're still getting energy, because they want to kill you, and B, you're using that time between, like, you know, you popping bubble and them killing it to, like, move back into your team, and then you're getting healed, right? So, yeah. And then you end it in the middle of point. Zarya is all about cooldown management, using your corners, especially in issues like this. Like, you can survive for so long just playing around corners as long as your supports can heal you. It's huge. Mantis, again, I like that you're taking the high ground. I like that you're contesting the off angles, right? You're pressuring their hit scan back constantly, you know, making sure that they don't have these angles on your team, which is really nice. Helping your team, you know, with the Rhine. The only thing that bothers me here, like, this is fine. The diva will probably eat this high noon, but, you know, I know you're trying to make something happen. But you drop. I don't think the kill in the Junkrat's worth it, because now you're just easy. You know, like, you're just an easy target. They don't even have to really try that hard to kill you. And you can tell because the Lucio killed you. So, I wish you would have just stayed on high ground. Oh shit, I went back. Alright, we're just stalling. Cool. Oh yeah, I know what I want to do this one. Okay, this is a short little thing, but it's again kind of a tank thing. Jondros, honey, what I need you to think about whenever you're going into chokes, right, like this, you know, you got to bring your team through, you got to respect their damage. Like, you got to think, and I know it's hard to tailor, like, kind of how you do things every time the enemy changes their comp, but when they have, like, McCree, so, like, they have, like, a CC and, like, a high spam hero, right, you got to respect damage going through chokes, because it's so easy for them to do damage there, right? All they have to do is just aim. So here you're trying to, like, bust through choke, but you kind of do it face first, and you just die. In that instance, like there's a couple of times on Busan that I notice where you don't need to do damage, right? Like sometimes it's okay to throw, a hammer swing or something at Ryan, but for the most part there, you all just need to have a plan about like, okay, we don't want to fight them here. We don't want to fight them in this little enclosing, right? We need to break out of this choke and do something else. So you'll need to kind of like just have an idea of like get through choke and like, go across somewhere else, Like even if you can bust out and kind of take this even a little bit definitively, or even like speed over here, right? So it kind of forces them into position, and then you can kind of come over this way and recharge shield a little bit before meeting them again. And then not only that, but like it forces them to turn around, and it also gives your team suddenly, like all of this space over here. And then when they start fighting you, like again, like maybe Mantis can kind of like start flanking on one of the sides. You need to like help your team get a little bit more out so that they have opportunities and options to spread out and like not just get jammed into a corner. So yeah, so y'all just gotta speed through, and then you just kind of hold shield strong, and you're like, fuck this, like I'm not just gonna die in this choke like this, 'cause yeah, I mean they just have too much damage, and you know it just makes sense if you think about it. Like if you're coming through choke, that's the only place they have to shoot, right? All right. My only other thing to say is again about the bubble management. I know you got energy for this, but you got no value out of it because we weren't doing anything. So this just means for me that now we have to suddenly wait 8 more seconds before John Juris can push, because you wasted your bubble and he didn't get any value out of it, right? He didn't take any space. He didn't do any damage. He didn't really take too much damage. So you got the energy, but what are you doing with it? How is it helping your team? Same thing here. We get the energy, and then you have to back up, right? Because like you don't have bubble. And now you don't have bubble for like really any of these things. You managed to save that person, but now your Rhine's dead because you didn't bubble him. And you had to back off with 100 energy because you didn't have bubbles to push. So, this is just it's just bad cooldown management. Oh, where are we going? Looks like right side. Good block. You want to tell me what you did wrong? Yep. So, again, don't gotta do all the damage yourself. Trust your team, Just enable them, and don't get me wrong, I mean, again, like we talked about on Blizzard World and a lot of this point, whatever, like, you're a menace when you want to be, and you do a lot of damage, which is awesome, and you put a lot of pressure on them. I just wish that you would value your life a little bit more,
Right.
Like once you get half health, once you lose your armor, especially against like Junkrat and someone with a stun, you should be like, okay, let's give my healers a little bit of time to heal me, and then I'll go back in, because that the rest of your health goes by in an instance. The second thing is, I know that we graved and you want to capitalize on it, but A, we have a combo to ult with the grav, but B, they use beat. And so, you're really just kind of setting yourself up for failure, unfortunately. Okay, let me back that one up. Okay, Rag. Okay, you see how you used bubble when you got energy, but you also took space with it? That's more of what you need to do, right? Like you took space, you got up, but they can't really push you, and if they do start pushing you, your team's right there. It's fine. And then you also kind of start taking point. It's kind of weird Because you're Zarya, and I don't always see that, but I don't necessarily think that it's bad because you're pressuring point, and that might, scare some of them. And I also think that this is a decent grab, although scary. My one issue, two issues really. My first one, yeah, like you kind of start a little bit late putting in the damage. I wish that you were doing more damage, right? I wish that you were alt firing more. I wish that you were a little bit closer. You don't have to be this far back. I know that you're taking point, and that's awesome that you stole it back from them. But I do wish that you were doing a little bit more. The second thing is because you're so far back and you're not really thinking about it, you don't bubble Jandros again. And he really needs it when he goes in like that. Same thing here. You're too kind of far away from people whenever you're trying to laser them, especially squishies. And I've been struggling with this, and I've been trying to get better with it. But just get up in their face, honestly. Alt fire them, laser them, punch them. But you're playing like kind of like a mid-range, Zarya against the squishies, and so it's harder to track them, right? And you're losing a lot of damage because you're struggling with that, and you're also still standing in the middle of point. So, like, they have McCree on this high ground, and they have Bap over here, right? And they have Junk over here. So you're literally getting hit by three different directions, all of you right now, because they're just taking these angles on you guys. So. I know you don't have a shield, but natural cover is a thing. Clear one side first. Go together and push them off high ground, or, focus a corner. Okay, I had... Okay, Mantis. You miss, but I appreciate that you try to flash the Rhine this time, and help your Rhine a little bit, so I'm glad that that's there. The second thing, though, my second issue is your target priority and some of the decisions that you're making. They're all in a grav, and you're just at that point breaking Rhine shield, right? So if you're not going to look for a squishy in the back, you need to just help break shield, which means you need to be fan the hammering. You have fan and you have roll, which means you can fan twice. I would just fan the shield. Shooting it like this is not a lot of value, just break shield. You do get D.Va to mech, which is nice. This is my second thing. You're on high ground, and you're about to drop down from high ground, and you're picking a target, right? You're gonna go fucking focus someone. You have D.Va underneath you, the three of them are here, and then you have McCree, right? In this instance, you go after Junk, who is in the middle of everyone, and he's also, a fucker to get out of, closed off little situations like this. When I wish that you would have cleared the left side with the McCree that's flanking your team, right? Because I honestly think if you drop and just roll, you'll catch him off guard and you can flash fan him. But instead you kind of ignore the McCree and you try to face the Junkrat in like a little hidey hole, and this is exactly where Junkrat wants to be. So that's just sort of unfortunate. I wish that your target priority would have been better. Okay. Go again. I think that you could be doing a little bit more. Throw your turret down. I'm okay that you got like a decent angle on it. It wasn't too far away. Spam a little bit more, from the side. Like I liked that off angle there. I like the follow up, of course, on the grav. It's a good ult. It's a good timed ult. I wish that you would spread it a little bit more. I know that you shot it at the grav, but it ended rather quickly after that. And then it didn't really stop them from there because they just backed up, right? Typically with Torb, you can spam it around like the majority of where the team is, or like the point or whatever. But you also want to try to get like like those side angles, like paths that they're often going to be in, and just kind of spread it around more so it's not centralized and they walk in it more. Like you could have thrown some up this way or thrown some in their back line, so they're forced to split up or they have to walk into it to get somewhere, right? Um, so I thought that could have been a little bit better. Okay. System, you kill like, I don't know, 3 people here, 4 people here, which is great. I mean, you're cleaning up this fight like super well. However, you kind of let your team die. Rag's half health. I would definitely throw a little bit of healing on him. Because like his shields will come back, but like if you can get that puff on him, he'll start, like getting like that natural, that burst and the slow, heal over time, which is great. Just throw a little bit. Also, if you're going to damage, and I've said this before, if you're going to like suck people, you need to throw a healing orb typically, so you can still heal your team while you're damaging. The same thing is if you're healing, right? It's good to throw like a damage orb, so you're still affecting the enemy as well. It's good to kind of alternate between like the orbs and the things that you're doing. Like for instance, you could have thrown the orb at Rag, right? Like the healing orb at Rag, and then you could keep sucking down like the like the low health squishies, right? Or throwing the damage orb if you want and healing Rag, whatever. But instead you just do damage and Rag dies. And he's so high charge right now, like it was so important, especially because you use your only tank at the moment. It's so important that he stays up there. So it's unfortunate. And then same thing, like you go to damage the full health hamster that you're clearly not going to kill in a second, and you don't heal your other support, right? So you're making a lot of active plays right now, and you're really contributing to the fight, which is awesome. And it sucks because this play would have been so good if you had still done your job. Like there, it's not your job to kill D.Va. You need to heal Ryan, right? You threw an orb his way, he threw him some heals, but he was hemorrhaging a lot of health, and sometimes you just have to commit that you're just gonna have to hold down, whatever button you have heal on, and just spray it. Okay. Same thing with Fade, right? Like you throw the healing orb away from yourself, which doesn't help you, and then you fade to this side of point. When what I would do if I'm gonna use fade here, right? Because I'm worried about the high noon, I would try to fade probably inside somewhere, right? Like here, or maybe towards the back of point over here. But like literally any natural cover available, that's where I would go. Not towards the center of point. It's a really great beat. One thing I did want to note. Okay, so you're shooting the supports, you see McCree go back left, and the moment I watch this Mantis, and you gotta get in this mindset, Like if you're shooting someone and you notice someone that typically likes to flank, like a sort of flanky or off-angly hero like McCree or Reaper, I don't know, Diva or whoever, and they suddenly disappear out of your line of sight, you need to start thinking, okay, which direction did they go, and how will they get to me from this side? If they wanted to. Just fucking contemplate it. Because the moment I saw that McCree disappear on the left, I was like, okay, so he's gonna flank him now. And you're definitely and this is fine. Like you're still, you're still dealing with stuff or whatever, but you should have this McCree in the back of your mind, like, okay, he's gonna start walking at me, I need to get ready, and then start looking, right? Because he shoots you, and for whatever reason, he doesn't roll and flash you because he's bad, and he doesn't kill you. A better McCree would fucking kill you right now. Now, what you did to this McCree is disgusting, Mantis, and I love it. And I think that was awesome, and I'm glad that you went over the top, right? Rather than just going face first into him. However, he definitely got the drop on you, and I don't want that to happen because, 9 times out of 10, a McCree 1v1, whoever wins is the one that surprises the other, right? So definitely try to think about in the future because you take a lot of off angles and you pressure a lot of off angles as well, which is great. You do a really good job with that, and you want that to be consistent, so you're a constant menace. Oh my god, I just realized Mecha Base took 50 minutes. Yeah. That's why I don't do the individual ones very often, because they take a lot. Okay, good. I wanted to talk about Mantis this fight anyway. Okay, I noticed this a couple of times on this map, Mantis. You focus on a target, right? Like, you're pressuring them, this is awesome, this is fun, you're doing work. You see this Torb, and you're like, I want this Torb. And they still have people alive. I know that they're dying, but I don't like that your natural response is to walk in front of enemy sightlines. Because I honestly think that if their Widow was still alive, that you would have done the same thing, and you would have gotten shot by something, right? So, again, care a little bit, play around your corners. You could have gone on the left side, right? Or just played it a little bit better, maybe. I know you didn't get punished for it, but I just wanted to make the comment. Okay. Same thing go as we talked about before. Your turret positioning and you just being more active in the fight is mostly what I'm missing from you with Torb. Notice again that your turret's not doing anything. I think it's shooting Torb? But I feel like it could be in a little bit better position, a little bit closer, maybe. I think it's just almost out of range. But good shot on the Widow. I love that you focused the turret for sure, and focused the Widow, so you did well there. Okay. Okay, so this fight's issue is the soldier, right? The soldier he takes a very basic, slight off angle, right, on this little high ground over here. But it's such a good position for him. So a couple of different things is, John, just like we talked about, if we see that he's a problem, maybe we back up a little bit so we can kind of block choke and the soldier, right? Because that's just, a pretty safe option. And it's still, you can give the enemy space without giving up too much. So, your hit scan and, they'll walk into the Torb turret a little bit more, which, by the way, again, you need to move this up. If the fight's on point, I can see it being back there. But at this point, with them coming through choke, it needs to be somewhere else. On the left, maybe. On the right would be good, because when they kind of push you guys on the left, right? You could have the turret here, right, maybe? Or even here would be good, because they'll have a hard time and they'll have to turn away from your shield to focus it, okay? So, a little bit closer. So, yeah, we can block the soldier shots, but my main issue is with my DPS. Because, Mantis, you get shot, and the same thing I said last time. I don't know if it's an ego thing or what, but neither of our DPS gets healed. And again, I wasn't there. I don't remember. I don't know the comms. I don't know if they asked for heals, but our healers are definitely focused on other things. And Mantis just kind of stands there and takes the shots to the face. So it's kind of everyone's fault, right? Like, maybe we could have shielded better. We probably could have healed them in time. But also, Mantis, you're not playing around natural cover, and you were low, and you just stood there. And following in his example, Goat also tries to pressure the soldier and dies. I'm fine with you guys pressuring people, but the moment you're losing that fight, duck into cover, ask for heals, don't die. Especially when you're defending. Yeah, so we just feed after that. We don't have any DPS. Oh yeah, and Chandras, again, like we talked about, I know you said that you were trying to make a play there with Shatter, and we talk and just yeah, and just so everyone knows, because most of the time, I will reward you guys when you try to make plays with your ults, right? But there's a time and a place for it. Now, if y'all lose a person in a fight, right, or you're even or something, like, it can be beneficial to try to make a play with an ult, because if you have ults, like, that's how you swing fights, even if you're down a person or something. However, it really depends on who you lost. In this instance, we lost both DPS, which means that because it's a set up ult, we need the damage to follow up with it, which we didn't have, and that's why it didn't work, right? Whereas if, maybe we'd lost like a healer or something, we could have like gotten those ults off quick and the damage off quick, and it still would have been okay. So that's just like something, to think about in the future when making those decisions. But, again, like, I'm glad that we are willing to try to make plays. I don't know what that soldier was doing. It concerns me. He tried. Okay. So, Mantis, I normally really like when you take off angle. Right now I have an issue with you taking an off angle for a couple of different reasons. The first reason is that, again, just like I said on the first map, whenever you're playing McCree, especially on Koth, whenever it's inevitably going to be a brawly brawl, you need to help your Rhine win the Rhine battle. If you were there, Jandros would not be pinned, right? Because you could stop it. Period. That's a one fight. Second, if you're going to flank High Noon, it's a little harder on Koth, because everything's pretty close together, so it might be easier for them to reach you. Like right here, you're literally standing like a foot behind everyone, and also they have a diva, so she quite My controller died. I'm back. But yeah, she literally doesn't need to really do anything but turn and eat it, which is what she does. So I think it's a bad judgment call on your part. Yeah, and then they just have ults to clean up. Also, I believe, yeah, we used several ults there. It looks like at least 3, if not 4. Recognize when fights aren't winnable. Y'all should be ult tracking at this point and knowing, like, okay, going into this fight, they have, they had 6 ults. They popped them all. And that would have been really awesome for you guys, right? If y'all had really kept many ults. So sometimes, remember, dry fights are a thing. On Koth, if they have a shit ton of ults, go in and spook them. Maybe use one ult, you know, and just kind of scare them a little into using their ults, and then just like let them win the fight. So remember dry fighting. It would have been awesome if y'all would have had ult advantage right here, right? So recognize when fights aren't winnable. If you lose your Rhine first, it's probably not winnable, right? Just because of how it works. So it depends on if they lose people, but if they're still standing strong and they have a shit ton of ults and your Rhine died, like at that point, just throw yourselves at them and get the rest out. Okay, so this rotation's a little awkward for me. I don't exactly like it, surely for the fact that, like, they're just kind of sitting on high ground uncontested. And we put ourselves, like, the side that we go on, like, we can't contest the high ground, right? Like, we're forced to just kind of come at it from the low ground, and literally their BAP and their soldier can just, like, shoot down on you guys for free. So I do think that you should have gone main. They don't have that much spam, and even if you didn't go through, like, the main choke, you could have gone from, like, the other one, right? So you have options still, but I definitely would have probably come main and, like, pushed the soldier and the BAP off of high ground. Same thing, Jandros. You see, like, you had beat too, and you're just taking a lot of damage. And part of that is that they have these people on high ground, right? And we're not addressing them, which isn't. It's not exactly your responsibility, but it is your responsibility to watch your health and kind of find like the right tempo, right? The tempo where you can swing aggressive and then you have to back up. And then that comes down to just understanding your healers and, their capabilities and, knowing like, okay, I'm swinging a lot, but I'm still, getting healed, so I'm fine, versus, I'm swinging and I haven't quite got healed yet, so I'm gonna stop and be patient, because otherwise you're just swinging and you're such an easy target. This is a better tour boat though, right? Like it's spread a little bit more onto the point, so they can't come. We got the Rhine in it. Maybe you could have shot a little bit up top just to kind of scare off the soldier. That could have been nice. But all in all, I thought that one was better than before. Okay. So, Rag, I don't think you're doing anything this fight. You got energy, right? You bubble Jandros as he's walking, which is okay. You also bubble yourself when you're already mostly full energy and you're full health. There's no reason to bubble yourself there. You don't need energy, you have health, so that's kind of a waste. Then you get bubble back right now, and you don't bubble Rhine again, so that's a mistake. You're also just kind of like, I can tell at times that you don't know exactly who you should focus, and so you just kind of spin around in a circle. You just gotta find it. Like right here, this diva should be, your call, right? And then, looking, you decide the diva again is your call. But just like I told you before, you're playing a little bit too passive from a medium range against the diva. Just get up on her face and alt fire punch her. She's dead. Boom. That's it. Then you can like start alt firing the soldier and pushing him off. But we just kind of sort of sit here and in the middle of point again, not really taking natural cover. We just keep the soldier on high ground and we don't really do anything. Same thing there. Clean, like you were obviously here and you're trying to heal and do everything, but part of your job as Lucio is to contest high ground, right? You don't have to kill the soldier yourself, but you could go up there and boof him down, right? So either he's forced to run back all the way up or he's stuck inside of your team. Okay. You know, or maybe as a team we just run up there real quick. Like y'all gotta use speed a little bit better. But we just couldn't we literally that's what happened there. We ignore the soldier for so long that we just don't do anything and then he just kills us. Alright, Sanctuary. Forgot about him. Okay. So, I really wish we would take in the fight here, maybe, on the left side. Um, so we could pressure, like, this soldier and get our soldier in a better position and, like, have better sight lines. Because we start playing around the right side of the pillar, which puts their back half, you know, more in the back here. And Goat doesn't really have a good sight line on them. So that's partly about where we're holding to face their team. Although Go also, I think you need to kind of be a little bit more proactive in just where you're positioning. I notice a lot on here that you focus the soldier and the Hanzo whenever they make their off angles, which is nice. You know, I'm glad that you're looking at that. You and Mantis both do a really good job about pressuring their DPS back when you can and those off angles. But there's a lot of times where you're not like able to shoot soldier right, and you're trying to shoot them in the back, and you can't quite get the damage that you're looking for, right? Whereas if you, for instance, if you had gotten aggressive at the beginning and pushed the left side and taken this high ground, like this soldier has such, you know, has a pretty good sight line of some things, you know, or taken the left side over here so you can see their back line more, or, you know, at the beginning, like if y'all aren't going to go left side and you are going to play right side, then you would, you know, kind of take like this sort of, you know, area and start shooting them, and you can even go, you know, back behind them or something. But like right now, you're a little bit too far back to really be doing anything of value unless your aim is just amazing. Okay. Decent pen. For the most part, Jondras, I like this. I think you clean up well, but you start aggressing on the Zarya a bit more, and again, we're not really focusing the soldier. We haven't pushed him out yet, and so you're getting shot from the back. So definitely try to put yourself again in positions, like if he's going to hold there, you got to turn the shield like this, so you can kind of block both, and then, you know, move back, and then y'all can deal with him. You know, definitely don't want you to die just because of one soldier, right? Same thing with that fight. Do this to me. So, Rag, this whole time you're getting shot from the side by soldier. And also Hanzo's right here. And we don't really focus either. Again, I think that as a team, we should really try to hold this left side because it's strong, and we can hold, like Ryan can hold kind of here and fight them in this area, and then like D.Va, you should be more on this area, probably with your soldier, right? And holding this position pretty strong because you can deny their DPS space. That's your job, is to deny their DPS value. So you need to make sure that like soldier can't sit here, right? If you see soldier by himself, he should be fucking dead. You should take his lunch money. Like he's just sitting there for free all the time. And I know you're trying to help your Rhine, but you're helping him like you're a Zarya, which is not good. Same thing after that. Like you do finally come back to kind of contest Hanzo, right? But now the rest of his team's here. They're all really weak. I wish that your team was pushing with you. I think we all kind of come back for soldier when we don't need to. Not saying don't contest soldier. I just don't think we all need to. Um, but I don't know, I wish someone else was here. I also think that you didn't know exactly who to focus there, and you kind of switched between people, but I'm glad you didn't lose mech for it, so I don't really have a big deal. And we did kill soldier, so I'm happy with that. This is better, Goat, right? Like, you can shoot here, Goat can get a little aggressive. This is doing better. I like the spot. Also, because I'm thinking about it, and you just got hit by it. System, you're too close. I know it's fun to use Ana like a shotgun hero, but she's actually a sniper, and it's a lot better if you treat her like that. If the enemy has flankers, it's okay to play a little closer to your team, and you can still play near them without, again, taking the same damage that they're taking. You should not be getting hit by fire strikes. If you have soldier, right, and we're holding left side, the fuck did Goat go? I don't see him. I lost Goat. This always happens. Oh, he went back this way. Okay. Alright. Well, in a perfect world, Goat would stay here because it's a strong position, and rather than letting this soldier come up for free Goat, you would just pressure him back. Hopefully D.Va would be with you. Or even, I mean, a lot of, like, D.Va will kind of play between Ryan and soldier, right? Now, Ana could be with you. Like, system, you could play in here, okay, with your soldier, and then you could help him with these flankers, right? And he would protect you and heal you, yeah. And you can still see. Or, you know, you can even play a little bit further back, maybe, if you're scared or something like that. But you're playing too close, and that's why you take so much damage here. And then you have to use nade for yourself, and all of that jazz. Big shatter. Big nano. Good cleanup. Wish you would have been a little bit more passive, Jandros. You know, let Ana heal you. And then same thing, like, we're still dealing with the soldier, you know? Like, the soldier should be dead. Their DPS are just kind of, like, manhandling us because we're not focusing on it. And then we ignore the soldier on the left for some reason, which confuses me. Like, we know he's over here, and he was over here the majority of the fight. And he's over here by himself, by the way, every single fight. And we have a D.Va, and a soldier, and a Lucio, and an Ana, and a shield. You know, like, this shouldn't happen. We get wiped by the soldier because we just don't look at him. Okay, so clearly we decide that soldier is an issue and we're tired of him being over here finally. And lo and fucking behold, we kill him. It's amazing. Chandra's great use of shield. I'm so happy that you backed up a little bit whenever, you know, you lost some health, and now you're good, and we just go in super strong. We use a shit ton of ults here. We're killing it. That rotation was beautiful. And we still have support ults and shatter. So, that was great. Great rotation. We got exactly what we wanted to do. They're done. It was perfect. Goat, this position is better. I like this. Just, you know, be a little mindful, of course, of when they're coming back, right? Like, when you're pushed up a little bit, like, it's easy for them to push you here. Like, if they sped to you over here, you know, as well, they could have pushed you. So probably better to start a little bit further back. Now, I don't mean all the way back there, right? Like, you can be middle of the pack and still be here, because you can, like, you can look as they're coming up to kind of see who they have with them and start pressuring them. And then you can still check to see if someone's flanking. And then once they push up and start aggroing on your team, like right now, like they're not looking at you, if you want, you know, if they have like a support back here, you know, or like the Zarya, then you can kind of take, you know, a chance to flank when they're already kind of, you know, pushed up and around a little bit and separated. But when you put yourself out like that before, like, anyone's really engaged, then it's so easy for them to just look at you. Huge fucking shatter. The nano is big. Nice eat, and we kill the soldier very quickly, which is nice. Awesome. All in all, obviously not a bad map. You guys won, but definitely some issues. I always see a lot of stuff from you guys on Koth maps, uh, which I mean, again, like that's where really teams have the most even playing ground, and that's where people's positives and their negatives start showing more. So. Those are my things for this session, guys. Let me know later if you have any questions, and I will catch you later. John, does you have anything? Sure.